Don in London, hello. July 26th, 2009, and I'm smiling, and it's 9:25 in the morning, Sunday morning, all quiet, just a few noises off from downstairs where there are some dogs, and they get upset if their owner is away, so they've been a bit upset these last few days. So what's going on for me? My videos all about recovery from addiction to substance or behaviour. My substance was alcohol, addicted to it, and my behaviour for 30 years or 35 years, drinking hard, working hard, relationships in abundance, never knew how to stick with it, I guess, and sort of skipping along the surface of a pond like a stone. You know, if you throw a stone you can make it skip several times, and that was probably me. And then as it skipped along and it got to the last loop, if you like, before it all bounced and it sank like a stone. It reminds me when booze really got me in the end, around about 2002, 2003. I did sink. I sank into a pit of despair and desolation, and I had that moment of clarity where I realised it couldn't get any worse, in my opinion. But you know, what was my opinion then? Very sheltered, very inward looking, isolated. And I thought to myself, I cannot do this on my own, and it cannot get any worse without being dead. And actually death seemed like a good option, and it's a terrible place to be, where nothing works anymore. Drinking doesn't work, anything doesn't work, and everything is turned inside out. So recovery is it can be a very long road, and the gift is we only have to do it for a day, one day at a time. If we keep our time frame right, which is to work life and the 12-step program of recovery well in one day, then all seems to go fairly smoothly, even when it can be quite rough and hard. And as I always say, or you see at the end of my videos, it always says cherish always. And it's interesting, you know, to be cherished, or to cherish a person, we can do it with great sentiment, but if we don't demonstrate it, then the cherishing, it may be inside us, but if it's not expressed, it's very, very difficult to work out what's going on. So there's been a bit of turmoil in my head over the last 24 hours, and that's good, because it means I care about not only me but other people in my life. And yeah, I'm okay this morning. I've done a lot of tidying up. I have family coming and we're going off for lunch, which will be rather nice. So a good leisurely Sunday morning and afternoon, hopefully. Yesterday I got out and about, and I went to a meeting at the Hut, which is down Flood Street, just off the Chelsea Kings Road in England. And I haven't been to that meeting for a few weeks, mainly because I've had things being delivered like books on a Saturday morning. And it was just good to see everybody. It was a packed meeting of great people that I know, and I cherish them, and I understand them, because I'm one of them, trying to keep sober one day at a time. And the fellowship keeps me on track with most things that are going on in my life. So what comes first? Well, sobriety comes first. Then I can be a part of family, community, get the right professional help for what ails me. I've got 3 chronic conditions to deal with. One is recovery, one is type 1 diabetes, and one is clinical depression. So if I listen to what's happening inside me and lean on the fellowship to be sober one day at a time, I can then be a part of family, be included, be a part of community, be included, society, civilization, be included, have a voice which is no bigger or smaller than anybody else's. And I emphasise here, I don't speak for the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, but it sure does keep me alive one day at a time. And there was a preamble shared at the beginning of every meeting, and it's on this little card here. So I have a crib sheet, and it goes like this. AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I always say that pretty much near the beginning of my videos, just so you know what they are about and what AA is about. It's about being sober one day at a time. And there are 12 steps of action for individuals to change attitude and behaviour, and there are 12 traditions which hold the fellowship together, and I emphasise it's a fellowship. And on the same little card, if you like, on this one, you've got the 12 steps, as you see there, and the 12 traditions. Yes. So 12 steps of action. I found it beneficial to remind myself of each step each month, and in the Daily Reflections book, which is part of AA literature, it talks about the 12 steps and 12 traditions and links them into each month. So it's step 7 being July, and it's nearly over, and it says, humbly ask him to remove our shortcomings. And the hymn in question is the higher power, or God, or your good conscience, what taps you into the rest of the world and what is going on, being included. So humbly asking to have shortcomings removed, I guess for me it's a daily thing of improving my self-esteem, my courage and my faith in human nature, which is where I see God working. And I couldn't describe God. I have heard it said that if one can describe God, we deny God, and I think that's because we don't understand the universe, let alone anything else. So there is a feeling inside us that we are attached to nature and providence and the universe, the life force, and life is full of little miracles, or great big ones if we get into recovery, because we stop dying. So step 7 for me is about improving my courage, faith and confidence on a daily basis, cherishing people, being included rather than excluded and isolated and dying. Sounds a bit rum, but any addiction will kill us sooner rather than later. Anyway, going to the daily reflections for today, this one, it talks a bit about the tradition 7. So 12 steps, 12 traditions. Tradition 7 is making, I suppose, contributions enough to cover rent, tea and biscuits, and printing of big books. So AA is never ever going to be wealthy except in wisdom, and the wisdom is we don't need any more money than we need, and if anything is in excess we make sure it doesn't stay that way by ploughing it back into doing something good. So that's not a very good description of tradition 7. It's more complicated, but what it means is that we generally are better off if we have just enough sobriety, just enough materially, just enough love, just enough cherishing, and then we start to see how life can be in the day, and it all works to be day-sized rather than a mountain that we have to climb up and then wonder where we're going next. So 26th of July says the worth of sobriety. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. When I go shopping, I look at the prices, and if I need what I see, I buy it and pay. Now that I am supposed to be in rehabilitation, I have to straighten out my life. When I go to a meeting, I take coffee with sugar and milk, sometimes more than one. But at the collection time, I am either too busy to take money out of my purse, or I do not have enough. But I am there because I need this meeting. I heard someone suggest dropping the price of a beer into the basket, and I thought, that's too much. I almost never give more than $1. Like many others, I rely on the more generous members to finance the fellowship. I forget that it takes money to rent the meeting room, buy the milk, sugar and cups. I will pay, without hesitation, 90 cents for a cup of coffee at a restaurant after the meeting. I always have the money for that. So how much is my sobriety and my inner peace worth? And it normally means that when we start to actually value sobriety, cherish ourselves and cherish other people, know how to be loved and love back, and do it with sincerity because it's from within us, from our heart, then we're getting the right measure of what life can be all about. And I'm grateful today, just to be me, that I can cherish and know when I am being cherished or not, or when it's about somebody else. Anyway, the gift is I get to know the difference on a daily basis from that serenity prayer, which goes, God, all in good conscience, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference and cherish just for today.